In this video, I'm going to show you how to replace the brake master cylinder in this Ford Escape. This is going to be located on the driver's side in the back side of the engine bay. Let's get into it. Take the wiper arms off, just use a pick. We'll take this little cover off on the side. Just get underneath there, pop that cover off. Using a 15mm socket, take this nut off. Grab the arm, you just want to rock it back and forth, get it to separate. Slide that off out of the way. Do the same on the other side. I'm going to take these clips off, just use a pick, get underneath the clip. These ones over here have like an extra clip. Get underneath there, pop those out. And grab this cowl and just lift up. There you go. It's just clipped in underneath. Those clips just push down. Using a T25 socket, we're going to take these two screws out. And that's just going to sit right there. Using a 8mm socket, take these screws out. That's loose, then do the same on the other side. Now grab this panel, and it pulls right out. And we're going to pull the engine cover off, just grab underneath, lift up. It comes right off. Disconnect this hose here, just push on the two tabs on the sides. Slide that off. Remove this bolt here, use an 8mm socket. Loosen up this worm clamp here, use a 7mm socket. Loosen up this worm clamp right here, use an 8mm socket. All right, that's loose. Slide the snorkel off. Take that out of the way. Disconnect the connector for the mass airflow sensor. Then over here, just pull this up. We're going to grab the air box. Just slide this out of the way. That out. We're going to remove the negative terminal, use a 10mm socket or a wrench, loosen that up, and just set that aside. And we can loosen up the positive terminal, use a 10mm socket. Set that aside. Using a 10mm socket, take these two nuts off. And remove that bracket. And pull the battery out. grab the battery box right here. I'm just going to pull up. There's a little clip right there on both sides. It's going to slide out. Set that aside. Using a 10mm socket, take these bolts out. Those bolts out. Using a T20 socket, take this screw out. Using a trim tool, just pop that push pin out, and this box can come right out. Disconnect the level sensor connector, just push on the tab on the side. Slide that off. I'm just going to use a little drain pan underneath here. You can just cut an old bottle just to make it work. And we'll disconnect the connector right here, the fluid. This is for this reservoir. Take that off. You're going to just push on the sides. It's going to drip out. Take this, just tip it up. And then you can drain the rest of the fluid out of this and put new fluid in when it goes back together. Just leave that under there for a minute. Now with the drain pan still under here, using a 15mm line wrench, we'll loosen up this brake line. Pull that line out. You're going to have some of the fluid drip out. And we need to remove the other line. Same 15mm. Loosen up the other line. Then you can switch to a regular open-ended wrench, 15mm, if it makes it easier. All right. Some of that'll drain out. Most of it's drained out. I'm just going to put a rag under here just to get some of the drips. Using a 13mm socket, take the nuts off. One of the nuts. This little brake parts cleaner and a rag. Just want to wipe down the area in the center of the brake booster. Don't spray brake parts cleaner into it, but just wipe it down. There's a seal that's going to seal right there, so you just want to make sure that area is clean. On the back side of the master cylinder, you want to make sure this seal is here. If there's not a seal there, you need to put a seal on there. Just slide this in position. You want to go over the studs. Get the nuts started. Because of the way the reservoir is set up, it's not that easy to do a bench bleed for this master cylinder. If you want to attempt to, you can try, but it's really not that easy. It's best to just install it and then bleed it from there. down first. All right, once those are both snug, we'll just torque those to 13 foot-pounds. Now to bleed the master cylinder, if you have a kit like this that will thread into here, you can have the hoses go back into the auxiliary master cylinder. We don't have hoses that will actually thread in here, that's okay. We're just gonna bleed it a different way. Take the auxiliary master, line that up. I'm just gonna put a block of wood underneath just to keep it raised up, just to prop it up so that the fluid goes down. I'm gonna add the appropriate brake fluid, just top it off. I still have a rag underneath there because some of it's gonna start pouring out the master cylinder. That's okay. Oh, there, it's running out. Then I'm gonna make sure my hand has a glove on it. And I'm gonna just put my fingers in the holes. Let's put this cap on. And then have an assistant in the car. Go ahead, slowly push on the pedal. Some of the fluid's gonna come out. You can let up a little bit and then hold it tight. Go ahead and let off. That's gonna put a vacuum on it. And then go ahead, push down. I'll just let off a little bit with my fingers. And then push tight, and then let off. And then go ahead, push down. Getting some of the air out of there. All right, let off. And we'll do it one more time. Go ahead, push down. Bunch of fluid, there we go. All right, let off. A little bit of a vacuum. And at this point, I'm just gonna take the lines, get the lines started. And start to tighten those down. Just lightly tighten those. You get some more fluid. That's full. Put the cover on. Now we're gonna just bleed these at the lines. Go ahead and have the assistant just slowly push down on the pedal. You can hear some of the air come out. I'm just gonna crack this free and then close it up. Make sure they're both closed. Go ahead, let up. And then go ahead, push down. Crack it free while it's down. I don't really see any air, so that's good. Close that up. I'll do it one more time in the back. Let up. And then go ahead, push down slowly. Crack that free. That's good. Close it up. Snug that down. All right, let up. And we'll do the front one. Go ahead, push down slowly. Crack this free. Oh, a little bit of air there. A lot of air. Close that up. Let up. And then push down slowly. Less air that time. Close it up. Let up. And then push it down again. Slowly. Open it up. And we didn't get any air out that time. That's good. And we'll snug that down. Those are both snug. Go ahead and let up. Good. And if you can use a torque wrench on these, you want to torque those to 18 foot-pounds. A little tricky to get that back one. Just do the best you can. That's good. Plug the connector in. Lock that in place. That's good. I'll take this rag away. Just remove the rag from underneath. If you need to, you can spray some brake parts cleaner to clean up some of the brake fluid. Yeah, that's good. Now I'll just remove the piece of wood, let the reservoir down. Now I'll take the wires, push the retainers in underneath the bracket. That's good. I take the box, battery box, line that up. Should be lined up with the bolt holes. And get the bolts started. And then tighten those down. This bracket on the side. Push the push pin in and then take the screw. Get that started. Snug that down. Take the battery, and just line that up. And take this panel right here. Just slide that in place. You might just have to bend the bracket out a little bit, but that lines up good. Put the bracket on and the nuts. Snug those down. I'll take the positive cable, line that up, and we'll tighten that down. Snug, give it a wiggle, make sure it's tight. Take the negative, line that up, and we'll tighten that down. And I'll just use a 10mm socket. Snug that down, give it a wiggle, make sure it's tight, that's good. Put the battery cover on. Make sure it snaps in place. I'll take the air box underneath the wires or hoses. Get this to line up over here. And then push it down into the bushings. Relatch that, that's good. Take the connector. Plug that into the mass airflow sensor. All right. Take the hose, intake duct. Get that lined up. Connect this hose here. Lock that down. Tighten down the worm clamp. Snug that down. Just make sure that's snug. That's good. Put this bolt in. Get that lined up. Snug that down. Take the engine cover, line it up, push it back on. Take the shield, line it up. It's good. And take these bolts, get those started. And we can tighten those down. Snug, that's good. Do the same on this side. Snug that down. And put these two screws in. Hold the reservoir up. Get that lined up. Tighten those down. Good. And take this panel, slide it in place. That's good. Put these clips in. I'll put the wiper arms on. Make sure they're in the same place on the windshield when you took them off. Put the nuts on. Tighten those down. Then you'll put the cap on. Do the same on the other side. Snug those down. Put the cap on. We're gonna top off the fluid. Make sure you use the appropriate type of fluid. Put the cap on. And we're gonna start with the right rear caliper. There may be a cap on the bleeder screw. You wanna take that cap off. Use a 11mm wrench. And I'm gonna put a hose over the bleeder. We're going to crack the bleeder open. I'm going to have an assistant in the car, and we're going to have them pump the brake pedal. Go ahead and pump the brakes, and then hold it. When they're holding it, we're just going to crack this open. You're going to see fluid come out, and the pedal's going to the floor. Then close it up again. And then go ahead and let up slowly, and then pump the brake pedal, and then hold it. Crack it open again. All right, close it up. All right, go ahead, pump the brake pedal and hold it. Open it up. Close it up again. All right, go ahead, pump the brake pedal and hold it. And that looks pretty good. All right, close that up. Go ahead, pump the brake pedal. Open this up. And I don't see any air, so that looks good. Close that up. Go ahead, pump the brake pedal. How's that feel? All right. And we can let off the brakes for now. We can take this hose off. Normally you want to do that about 3 times, unless you see air. Then you want to do it for longer. Just snug that up. Put that cap on. You can spray this with brake parts cleaner. And then we'll move on to the next wheel. We're going to top off the fluid. Put the cap on. Now we're going to be on the left rear caliper. I'm just going to use a pick. Just take this little boot off, little cap off. And we'll do the same. This one happens to be a 10mm wrench. And put the hose on. Have the assistant pump the brakes. Go ahead. Before we have the assistant pump the brakes, it's a good idea to double check the fluid level under the hood and top it off. All right, go ahead, pump the pedal. And then hold it. And then I'm gonna crack this free. Oh. Pedal goes to the floor, fluid comes through the tube, close it up. Go ahead, let off, and slowly pump the pedal. And hold it. Again, no air, close it up. Go ahead, pump the pedal. And hold it. All right, close it up. Go ahead, pump the pedal. And normally about 3 times if you see, as long as you don't see any air and the fluid looks clear. Go ahead, hold it. All right, close it up. Go ahead, pump it. And hold it. Don't see any bubbles. That looks good there, so we'll close that up. Go ahead, pump it. How does it feel? Nice. All right. You can stop. I'll take the hose off. Snug up the bleeder screw. Take the cap, put the cap on. Use some brake fluid or brake cleaner if you need to. And then move on to the next wheel. We're gonna top off the fluid. Put the cap on. Now we're on the right front caliper. Double check and top off the brake fluid in the reservoir. Take the cap off with the pick and the hose. Okay, go ahead and pump the brake pedal and hold it. Crack this free. There's the fluid. Close it up. Go ahead, pump the brake pedal. Hold it. Crack this free. I don't see any air. Close it up. Take the tube off. Make sure that's snug. And put the cap on. And move on to the next wheel. We're going to top off the fluid. Put the cap on. And last, we're going to be on the left front caliper. Top off the brake fluid. We'll take the little cap off here. Just use a pick. 10mm wrench. And put the hose on. Go ahead and pump the brake pedal. And hold it. Close it up. Go ahead, pump the brake pedal. Hold it. Open it up. And then close it. No bubbles. Close it up. Go ahead, pump the brake pedal. How's it feel? Feels good? Okay, we can take this off. Double check. Just snug that down. Put the cap back on. In the event that the pedal still feels soft, you can repeat the procedure from step 1, go around again to each caliper, bleeding the brakes, and if there's no air that comes out, you may have to do a ABS automated bleed with a scan tool. After that's done, then you can put the wheels on and torque those lug nuts to 100 foot-pounds. We're gonna top off the fluid. Put the cap on.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.